Welcome back to the Rebuilt Parish podcast. On today's episode, we brought back Tom Corcoran, and we are talking all things steps, rebuilt faith, and our new partnership with the YouVersion Bible App. Join us inside this episode to find out how your parish can grow in helping your parishioners grow their own discipleship. We'll see you inside the episode. Well, hey, Tom, welcome back to the podcast.
Thanks, Melissa. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. So today we are talking about steps, rebuilt faith, and the new rebuilt faith plan on the Bible app that's coming out soon. So Tom, can you just get us started? Just talk to us a little bit about the book Rebuilt Faith and how you and Father Michael laid out the steps of discipleship in that book.
Well, the steps of discipleship, first of all, came just organically. You know, we started doing certain things in the parish about that we observed from other growing healthy churches, and we started just putting together what we thought were these practices that were so important for growing in your faith, but also as we talk about growing the local church as well, growing the parish. So even at a certain point, we decided we needed to brand them, and I wasn't in those conversations actually, because we kind of knew what the elements were. We knew it was about serving. We knew it was about giving money and financially. We knew it was about small groups. We knew prayer was important, and we knew evangelization was important. So, funnily enough, like when steps came up, a couple of people on our team got together and branded them. And when they came up with that acronym STEPS, I had different use of the acronym. I guess you could say that. Okay. So I thought like S would be for serve, T would be for tithe and give, but E would be for evangelization, P would be for prayer, and S would be for, I forget now what was left. I don't know, something else.
Probably.
Small groups, yeah, like that. Yeah. But I think it was a good idea, was put them all into verbs, which is really a good idea. So anyway, thanks for bailing me out there, Melissa. So anyway, so we kind of branded that, and then over time, you know, we would do series. We did a series called Steps, and so that's how it kind of evolved here at Nativity.
I love that. So then what prompted you to write the book Rebuilt Faith and share the steps with the masses? Because now this book has sold thousands and thousands of copies, and parishes all over the country are reading it.
Yeah, well, it was a kind of, so, you know, we stole a lot from Saddleback, right? We learned a lot from Saddleback.
Are we supposed to say that?
I think so. It's fine. And well, one of the things, they've been our model, right? Yeah. We've admired them. We've admired Rick. So Rick wrote a book called Purpose-Driven Church. And that is a book for church leaders, right? That's for people with these key principles about how to run a church. Well, for us, Rebuilt, it's the same idea. It's about what we had learned about running a local church. It's our story. You know, that's unique, right? That's the unique part, is our story and what we've learned along the way, and then bringing that into a Catholic parish. And so Rick wrote Purpose-Driven Church, but then at a certain point he wrote Purpose-Driven Life, which sold like 40 million copies or something absurd. It's like, it might be like 50 million. And, and so we thought, well, the whole idea of Purpose-Driven Life is to take the purposes that he talks about in Purpose-Driven Church and help people apply them personally. So in some ways, Rebuilt Faith was taking the personal practices that we have. Now we call that in our anchors, the Growing Deeper anchor, and the steps of discipleship, the discipleship path. We wanted to put that in a book for the individual people in the pews. And our hope from the book, and my hope from the book, is that the two can come together. So the idea would be, if you're a pastor or a church leader, you read Rebuilt and like, okay, we want to implement this. We talk about the model now, but you see it, you want to get it in there. You know, often what we hear from pastors or church leaders is, we can't get people on board.
Right.
Well, if you give people Rebuilt Faith and they start to see the steps of discipleship and they grow in their faith, hopefully that bridges a gap, and hopefully it helps to inform a whole community or congregation about, again, the discipleship and steps of discipleship, and why maybe the pastor is encouraging small groups, or why they're encouraging serving. So as we build up people's individual faith, they're more likely to engage in the life of the parish.
That's true. And then they're so much more likely to get involved. I mean, they're going to be taking those steps. That's what you're encouraging them to do in the book.
Yeah, and that's, again, we it goes back. The corporate and the personal go together. So yes, and we need the renewal of our minds, right? So that's why we create content. That's why you write books, is that people are reading these books. You're helping them reframe and rethink and being transformed, hopefully, in the renewal of the mind as they see what God wants for us. And again, we know this is different from many parishes, what's going on, or we don't always look at these things like serving and giving as ways to grow in faith. They're usually like, oh, we have to do that. These are obligations we got to do. No, these are practices that help us grow as disciples of Jesus Christ, right? That in Catholic world, small groups is not always a thing. It is not very popular, but we know it's not just about creating fellowship events like spaghetti dinners or fundraisers. It's about creating real community where we engage in Christian community. So hopefully it's helping people see what's possible too. That I think sometimes we stay in our ways because we just don't know what's possible, and hopefully It's giving people a vision of what is possible in their parishes and what's possible for their own spiritual growth.
Definitely. It's been fun to see some of our parishes roll that out too, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But I first want to talk about, now, Nativity has lived through Rebuilt, right? Rebuilt came from Nativity, but you rolled out the message series Rebuilt Faith along with the book and small groups. So what kind of impact did you see in the parish as a result of this one?
At Nativity or other parishes?
Well, then we're going to talk about other parishes next.
Well, I think, at Nativity, it definitely moved people. I mean, we got 1,000 people in a small groups as a result of doing Rebuilt Faith. Now, we threw that out as a challenge, like let's get new people into small groups as a result of what we're doing. And then we knew no one was going to stay there, but we challenged for Lent, and many people do. So we saw growth in people getting into small groups, experiencing it. Again, there's always new people coming in, so it's helping them to get on board what we are doing. It helps continue to create the culture of engagement in the life of the church and a discipleship culture.
You know what, Tom? I didn't even think about the fact that you've got people who are brand new coming in all of the time who may have no idea about what Rebuilt is or what this parish has gone through. They're just attracted to the weekend experience and how they're made to feel when they come in. What a great idea to share this with them.
Yeah, and for us, COVID really brought new people in, and that's the both in person and online. So we have people, and I think there's hybrids of people that come sometimes in person, sometimes are online. So yeah, it was just a great opportunity to refresh and reset. And I do think, as we talk about, you have to kind of share these things over and over again. We don't say the steps and then it's over. No,
right.
we're in the middle of a series right now on serving, and a little bit of the introduction is these are the steps of discipleship we discovered help you grow in faith. And that's why we do them. They help grow your faith, and they help grow the corporate body as a church. And by the way, those two things are interconnected.
Right.
Your faith is personal, but it's not private. It is meant to be corporate, or more probably better, communal, right? The church is meant to be a community of God's people.
Yes. Now, let's talk about some of those partner parishes that we've seen, or even other parishes who implemented this and taught their parishioners about the steps. What sort of fruit have you seen from that?
Yeah, that's interesting, because I do think, as my email goes off, and I will quit that out. Sorry, Melissa. I do think it's actually easier sometimes to see the change in other parishes, right? At Nativity, we've been doing this for so long. So that's why I asked, are you talking about Nativity or our partner parishes? Because again, when we did, to use our example, when we did Purpose-Driven Life, we saw a great growth, because we were introducing this whole idea of discipleship path and of growing, and a lot of people who would never, it just changed the trajectory of our parish. And I think that's what we're seeing in partner parishes as they get the whole parish to rebuild faith, or invite a large group of people to get in a small group and read the book. And then again, hopefully they're awakened a bit to, the possibilities of growing in faith, and how these things will both help them grow in faith and help the parish grow. And so, you've sat in the small group, especially small groups, right? We've seen
Yes.
incredible fruit we're seeing of people getting into small group as a result of this book.
Definitely. I think that's one of the cool things about what we get to do is we get to see those parishes not just implement it, but then we can see their fruit. And that's been fun seeing, some of our parishes that just out of 3 parishes we helped last year, we had over 700 people get into small groups and they were using Rebuilt Faith to do that. And so now over 700 disciples are being made because these people are learning how to use the steps of discipleship. And those parishes are seeing massive change and growth. They're getting more volunteers. They're getting more people engaging in small groups. When they launched their small groups in Lent, they had that plan to continue forward and they did it. Those small groups didn't stop. People loved it so much that they kept going with it.
Yeah, it's fun to hear those stories, and we know that when people get into small groups, one stat we use is they're going to grow in generosity. So we know that if someone's in a small group versus not in a small group, people in small group give 2 times what people who are not in a small group do. So they give more generously to the church financially. They're more likely to serve. So, all these steps kind of go hand in hand.
They do. And I mean, I just think about, what you shared earlier. I didn't know that. I didn't know that you had a different idea for what steps would stand for and how it would be used. But I really love that they made it a verb because discipleship really should be, it should be treated like a verb. It is action. You can't just sit in the pew. You have to get out and you have to take all of these different action steps.
Yeah, I love the steps is great. I love it. I can't take credit for it. I mean, take credit for the acronym and the application and the branding, but that's why I'm not in marketing and you are, Melissa, and other people on our team, because and why I don't name series, even though I help create content for it. And I love the idea of steps too, is communicating we're on a spiritual journey. If you look through the Gospels, Jesus is always moving somewhere, and I think those travel narratives are not just about. I mean, they're telling the story, but the gospel writers are putting that to say that the disciples, to follow Jesus is a journey, right? We talk about life as a pilgrimage as Catholics, and going on pilgrimage, you take steps and you walk and you move. So, I like the acronym that came up for, even if I can't take any real credit for it, in the sense of the branding.
You know what, Tom? Everybody has their gifts and talents, and you're sharing yours in your way, and the people on that team are sharing theirs in their way too. So don't feel bad about it.
That's right. We need each other.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, we had David Sean on the podcast a couple of months ago, which was really exciting because we talked all about the YouVersion Bible app. So now we have exciting news, and this is where we're going to break it. Do you want to share the exciting news, or do you want me to?
No. I think you should. I think you're again, going back to gifts, you have much more excitement. You can communicate with excitement and enthusiasm. It's why you're great for this podcast. And I think, and you made this happen. You made this happen. So you deserve to make this announcement.
Oh, well, I'm really excited about it. Thank you. I think I'm partially excited because this is like 2 big things happening at one time, which is cool. So if you heard our conversation with David Sean, he talked about the YouVersion Bible app and how churches can use it, how people can use it. Well, we're excited that we are going to be launching our own Rebuilt Faith Bible plan. And this is a 30-day plan that takes you through the steps of discipleship. And parishes can use it with small groups, or individuals can use it on their own. The beautiful thing I love about Bible plans, and Tom, you can tell, like, this is where I get really excited, is that you can read them with other people. So if you start a Bible plan and you add your friends to it, you can text them the link to it, or you can add them straight through the Bible app. You can all read the plan together and all grow together. So it really is such a great tool for parishes to use, especially with their small groups. And my favorite part about reading these in a group is that at the end of each day, you can put your thoughts in. So it will say, what are you hearing today? And so then I would put in, oh my goodness, this reading was exactly what I needed to hear today. Or this really spoke to me today. Or I'm hearing God telling me that I should slow down. Whatever it is, you can share that. And then whoever you're participating in the plan with, even if you're on the other side of the world from that person, they get that comment and then can do the same thing. These Bible plans are something that I've been doing for years, and I love how it just connects you to people, whether it's people in a small group with you locally or people that you're just sharing the faith with all over the place, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's a great point. I think even with prayer, sometimes we think prayer is only personal and not corporate, but our prayer is helped and aided when we can share it with other people and what we're praying about and the scripture verses that are hitting us. And so that kind of takes prayer to a whole nother level. So that's really cool.
It does. I love it. And it's coming out, Tom, just in time for Global Bible Month, which that's an initiative that takes place in November to celebrate the Bible and encourage encouragement with its text and engagement. So there's going to be 30-day Bible challenges in there, and Rebuilt Faith is going to be one of them. That's part of the 30-day Bible challenge.
Yeah, that's very exciting. I mean, it's really cool to be partner with YouVersion, obviously, and they're going to be celebrating 1 billion downloads or something like that coming up.
Yeah,
right?
Let's talk about that. The Beyond 1 Billion celebration. Do you want to share about that?
Well, I'll start, but then I'll let you, just because I don't want to keep making you do all the work, Melissa. But, I think it's really exciting. We'll be out there in Oklahoma City with Life Church. So just a little, I think if you missed the David Sean podcast, and if you did miss it, go back and listen to David. He's just got great stuff. He's a great mentor to me, great friend of us, and very encouraging, great encourager. But anyway, so David was at Saddleback Church and was served as basically chief of staff to Rick Warren. But now Rick moved on from Saddleback, and David has moved on as well, and is at Life Church. So we talk about, man, these two big, huge churches, and David's been in that. So anyway, David, our good friend, is invited us to come out for this celebration that will be in Oklahoma City. Is it November
17th?
17th. I know you have it circled and starred.
It is circled and starred in my calendar, Tom.
Yeah. So, I don't know what else you wanted to say about that, although it's just fun to be invited to that. And I don't think we're the only ones invited, Melissa. I think there'll be a few other people there.
There's a whole arena full of people there. We are definitely not the only ones that get to celebrate this. But it is so exciting. I mean, when you think about how many people are in the world, and now we're going to be celebrating 1 billion Bible downloads, not 1 million, but 1 billion Bible downloads. It's just incredible. And their goal is to get the Bible in the hands of everyone. And I love that. I think that it's such a great goal. And as Catholics, here's the cool thing is they are working to get even more Catholic content on there. So it's a great tool for parishes to use and find some of that Catholic content. And one of the things that our team's going to be doing while we're in Oklahoma City is learning even more about creating plans that are going to help our parishes and help the people in the parishes as well. So they're going to get to see a lot more plans coming from us in the future through the Bible app too.
Yeah, it's awesome. Great to be partnering with YouVersion in that. And, I think that's something just on my heart to continue to partner with other organizations that we're all on the same team. I've written some, blogs about that as well, like that. And obviously it's on our heart, the kind of ecumenical as well, that, David Sean, great, again, connection to affinity for the Catholic Church and love for it. And, it's great that we're able to partner with YouVersion and hopefully bridge some of these gaps, the Catholic Protestant, and got to bridge some of the Catholic gaps in ourselves and our own
sure.
our own world as well. So we love just partnering with people. Again, we're all on the same team. It's about the mission to make disciples, bring people in a growing relationship with Jesus Christ, and so we're all working towards that.
Yeah, definitely. And this is exciting. And we'll put the link for YouVersion in the show notes. And then as soon as we have the link to share for Rebuilt Faith, we will be adding that as well. And make sure to, if you're not on our email list, make sure to get on there because we'll be emailing that out as soon as that goes live.
Yeah, it's interesting about just choosing why Rebuilt Faith. To me, it is the book I really Rebuild has sold a lot more copies than Rebuilt Faith. So, but it's really the book I would love to get. If any of our books, my favorite book, by the way, is Church Money, because if anyone knows anything about me, I love the topic of money and growing in generosity for many reasons. But that is my favorite book to write. But the book I really hope gets out in the most hands is Rebuilt Faith, because again, I do see, as we talked about earlier, what did we hope? We hope as people in the pews read this book, it just makes it so much easier for church leaders to paint the vision of where God is leading them. And, we talk about the vision of an exceedingly vast army of people that are switched on for Christ, that are engaged in the life of the church, bringing God's love out into the world. And I do really believe that if the steps were grabbed hold in more churches and more people got it, it would really, again, transform many parishes. So that is the book I really hope gets into people's hands. Even just the other day, I was with a guy in my small group, but we were having a separate conversation. He's like, "Steps is it. You got to keep promoting Steps." I'm like,
absolutely.
His name's Brian. I'm like, Brian, I agree. We got to keep promoting Steps. I think, it just gives, again, the idea of Steps is it gives such a simple handle on for people, the average person in the pews. Okay, how do I grow as a disciple of Jesus Christ? And in church world, we tend to complexify it and make it so complicated. It doesn't have to be that complicated.
Definitely. And I'm with you, Tom. I think that if more parishioners understood Steps, they'd be willing to take some of those actions rather than, just continuing to be consumers sitting in the pews. And that book, it really is. It's a nice, easy read for people. It's one that challenges them. But the nice thing is, too, the app is also a great supplement to the book where they can use that either reading it on their own or connecting with other people, too. And we're going to ask our parishes out there who are listening, share this with your communities, share it with your parish. Even if you haven't done Rebuilt Faith yet with your parish, if you have, this is something they're going to love even more. But this gives them a tool, and it's a free tool. By the way, the YouVersion app does not cost anything for people. So it's free for them. It's free for parishes. And that using it is free too. It's completely donor run, which is incredible. It's such a great ministry. But this is a plan that it will take somebody literally 2 to 3 minutes of their day to engage in it every day, but can help them grow deeper in their faith.
Yeah, they're being free. So this is why I love Church Money, because it helps people raise big giver, and it makes these resources possible. Melissa, see?
Oh my gosh.
If it wasn't for raising up donors and people in generosity, it wouldn't be free. So that's the awesome part of it.
It's so funny. This is the first time I'm hearing that Church Money is your favorite book out of all of them. I did not know.
Yeah, I again, the topic, I liked researching it and figuring out one of the things of, sorry, this is a digression I know from the rest of the podcast, but one of the things I just did for that was just go through the whole New Testament and look for every time money was even talked about. And I enjoyed doing that and finding new things and discovering, wow, that's talked about there. It's talked about there. So anyway, and trying to solidify some of the lessons we had learned. And again, I want to see, and obviously that is one of the steps, so I can bring it back into that.
Yeah, no, it is.
That's a huge step of discipleship.
Yeah. Well, I think about some of those personal stories that you shared, Tom, how that helped you grow in your own faith and discipleship too. I think back to the story you shared, and I forget if it was Rebuilt Faith or no, if it was Church Money or the original Rebuilt book, how you and your family were on vacation and you were in somebody else's church. You were already giving in your own home parish, and you were thinking about not giving. And God's like, give it all, everything in your wallet. And do you want to pick it up from there? Cause it's your story.
I'm interested how much more you remember of it.
if I'm not wrong, I think it was $14 is what you had in your wallet. You were
Right.
wrestling with God. And you were like, God, no, I'm already giving in my home parish. And God's like, give it all. And when you looked in your wallet, you realized it was literally just $14 that you were, you were wrestling with God over. But I think it's stories like these that show people that no matter who you are, you can grow in your faith when you are engaging in every single step, including giving.
Yeah, like you said, the step of giving, but for all these steps that we're talking about are ways in which we surrender to God and go on the journey. And whether that's surrendering money or surrender, and for me it is that. And I also saw God like come through for me in incredible ways, and still see God come through in incredible ways of just trusting His provision. And I really believe it's giving that unlocks that. Prayers are good, but if we want to see God provide, we trust and provide, and the way we do that is through our generosity or growing generosity and giving. But yeah, each of the steps is obviously about somehow surrendering. If you're going to serve in some way, and right now we're talking about serving in ministry at Nativity, but when we serve, I have to give up some of my rights. I have to give up some of my pride. I give up some of my time, right? And all these things. In small group, I'm going to give up some of my time and maybe surrender some of the pride I have, that I have it all together, that I project on other people. And so prayer gives up time. So all these things we surrender, but then of course the idea is that as we surrender, we get much more back in return, and that it helps us grow in our relationship with the Lord, and to love God and love others.
Yeah. Tom, I never thought about it as surrender for the rest of them, but you're right. It really is. And something that's beautiful, I think, is that at Nativity, because you've been living out the steps with your parishioners for years and they get it, just seeing how people humble themselves, how you've got literal millionaires coming and picking up trash and opening doors for people. And it doesn't matter who they are or what they do outside of church. They are coming in and serving in a humble way and giving. And they're in small groups, and you can hear them talking about their small groups. It shows that when you build that culture of steps, that beautiful, incredible things happen for them and then happen for the church too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, I think the culture people can feel when you take people on the discipleship path, that what steps is trying to help people do, and then a critical mass of people do it, you can feel it. And, we talk about parish renewal, and I think, why do we do steps again, right? And why do we need it? Because the parish always needs to be renewed. Either we all need to be renewed in our own faith, in the sense of, it's funny, I'm working on some reading. The readings come up every 3 years, but they hit us differently. I'm working on, right now, a passage. I'm like, wow, I needed to hear this right now. And it's just, I need to be renewed in that. So the people need to be renewed in these steps over and over again. But then again, then we need to introduce it to our parishes so that it can be new. But the new thing will feel fresh, and it'll feel, again, will rejuvenate many people, and they'll start going with it. So we do help, and we say define your discipleship path. So if you think there's something missing from steps, use it. But I would use that for a while first, and then after a while, if you think there's something missing. But I would argue there's nothing. But anyway.
I think I can think of at least one other parish that has a different acronym that they use. I can't remember what it is, but I think that's a good point. If it works, use it. If not, come up with what does work for you. We'll put in the show notes too the different tools that you can use right along with the book Rebuilt Faith. We've got message series, so we'll put the link where if you want to get the message series that goes along with that, we'll include that for you. And we'll include where you can get the books for your parishes too. And if you buy, there's different campaign success kits too. There's one of those that they can buy where they can get everything they need to launch these as a message series in small groups in their parishes as well. Well, thank you. And thank you to all of our listeners. We'll see you next time.